Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is a bonus episode because this bonus episode is for those of you who, in your job or career, are holding space for other people's pain. And then you find yourself having to navigate your own pain. Or maybe you came into this field knowing you were still navigating your pain and you're trying to figure out the complexities of navigating your own healing while holding space for other people's pain. So, for a lot of our listeners, this doesn't apply to you. It's just a bonus episode. You're welcome to hang out and learn from it. But for those of you who are a coach or are a therapist and you are navigating your own pain and some of the complexities of what that looks like for holding other people's pain, that's what we're going to talk about today. And there's some things that come up with this, and I'll just voice that I have walked this path. I've walked this path prior to becoming a professional, and I've also walked D-days while being a professional. And navigating each of those, there's different complexities in it. When you are just navigating it on your own as a client, for a lot of us, there was a lot of still learning and growing and discovering things for the first time. Once you become a therapist or a coach and you feel like you have the tools, there are pieces of that that make it easier, and there's other elements that make it harder. So, we're going to dive into all of that today and hopefully give you a little bit of validation, some extra tools that can be helpful, and then some resources. Like, I'm going to say this at the beginning, in the middle, at the end. In June, we have our Heal the Healers retreat. And this retreat is not about coming and doing workshops and learning. It's about you just getting taken care of. That you get to come in this, my office manager, she called it a McMansion, like a mini McMansion. It's this gorgeous property at the base of the Wasatch Mountains where you can come and all of your meals are taken care of, and there's activities and there's tons of downtime, but also opportunities for just self-care and you being taken care of for a change, and connection and networking and friends and all of that. So I'll just say, if you are a healing professional, come hang out with me and be taken care of, because if there's anything I am excited for this year, it's this. That being said, we'll talk about some of those resources and things for you to take care of you. So let's just first dive into this dual role that you're finding yourself in. You are in this dual role of I'm the professional and the person and the client. Now, you're not in a dual role with your clients, but you are in a dual role internally where you're stepping into these two different places. And when you are in this place of navigating both, there takes a certain level of skill of being able, and we'll talk about this countertransference a little bit more in depth later, but a certain level of skill of being able to understand and this is my stuff, and setting it aside and being able to be with your client. But the other part of that is stepping into the role of client. Some people joke that therapists are the worst clients. And I actually, like, therapists are my favorite clients to have. But probably because I am a difficult client for somebody to have. Because when I am in a session and I am sitting there as a client, it's really hard for me to turn off my therapist brain. It's really hard for me not to be analyzing and being thinking like 3 steps ahead of the therapist. Oh, this is where we're headed. Oh, they want me to do this. Oh, and so I am struggling to not sit over in their chair for them, or even, I don't know if any of you relate to this, I will sit there and I'll be processing, and then I know what I would say as a therapist. And so then I say that for myself, and then I keep going. And I play both roles, even in that client session. Now, that's been part of my work, is to help me that when I am in the role of a therapist, I'm in the role of a therapist. When I'm in the role of coaching, I am coaching and I'm there for that person. And when I'm in the role of a client, I'm in the role of a client. And so learning how to do that and let yourself be fully present in each one of those roles, some parts of those are easier than others. This dual relationship, too, another part of that is if you experience a D day while you are already actively seeing clients, you don't get to choose when those D days happen. And I don't wish that upon anybody. And hopefully that's not your story. But if it is, if you get brand new information, there is a certain level of reality collapse for you. There is a certain level of what you knew and understood or believed things to be, have that pulled out from under you. There is a certain level of restabilizing that you need to do. And there is a time and a season where you can keep seeing your clients as is. There may be times and seasons that you need to tend to you to be able to better attend to your clients. And how do you know the difference between those two things? How do you know when the time is that I step back and I rest and heal? And when I am doing a healthy level of compartmentalization? Because there are healthy levels of that, right? If my dog is throwing up all morning, me bringing that into every session is not going to be helpful for my client. So that would be healthy to compartmentalize that and be present with my clients. An unhealthy compartmentalization that I see therapists swing to is that there are such big feelings that those get shoved down and shoved down and shoved down, and then they don't get attended to and they don't get addressed. And then that always comes out in some other way, whether it comes out through extra triggers or it comes out through maybe explosive interactions with your family, or it comes out where your body is breaking down emotionally, physically. And so, really stepping back and paying attention to when I need more help. And let me just say that I see the error happen the most on therapists thinking they're okay and powering through when they really need to step back. I think about how when we have trauma, it is a physical injury on our brain that registers in our brain like the same thing an emotional trauma can do on our brain as what a concussion can do on our brain. It can register as that physical trauma. So if we were to have a concussion, get hit with a concussion, we would rightfully so probably take a day off of work. And if it's a serious enough concussion, we might take a few days off of work. And so if you do have your world rocked, are you willing to step back and let yourself emotionally heal for a season? And for me, in times where I have had to do this, it may look like I need to step out of doing groups for a while and letting other people do groups. It may mean that I'm getting a sub for a while. It may mean, especially where I have an autoimmune disease, it may mean I'm taking 3 weeks off of work to tend to my body and my emotions so I can come back and do my job to the best of my ability. That truly is best practices because that's what's going to take care of your clients. You take care of you so you can be okay, so you can flourish, and so you can give to others in the way you want to. But sometimes we have this problem where we have a conflict of identity that makes it hard for us to do this. And it can be some deeper beliefs, like beliefs that, I'll just say, like, I'm about to say these. Logically, you will know, like, yeah, I know I shouldn't, like, think that or shouldn't be doing it, but emotionally, we still run with it, okay? One can be therapists aren't supposed to have problems. Therapists are supposed to be the ones with the answers, not the problems. I'm supposed to have it all together. I'm supposed to have all the answers. Or if I'm in pain, then I can help others. If I'm in pain, I can't help others. I shoulds. I should be able to be fine. I should be able to run group. I should be able to hold my clients' pain and not make their story about me. Anytime you are recognizing the shoulds, I should be able to do it. I should be able to power through it. This shouldn't be bothering me so much. That's just your little flag. I call the shoulds the like shame flag. Like, oh, we got some shame there. And really that's an opportunity for us to step back and reevaluate. But notice this pressure that we feel of that I'm supposed to have it all together. I'm the one they're looking to for answers. How in the world do I give them help if I'm still on my healing journey? And I'm just going to flat out say, if you're human, you're going to be on a healing journey. That's part of being human. And therapists are human, and you get to be human, and you get to not have it all together. And you get to explore, ideally with your professional, on for you when you may be in a place that could be helpful or hurtful. Because there's times where we could be hurtful, and there's times that we can be helpful. And we'll look a little bit more into that in just a minute. But I want to put out there that you are still ethical and capable and valuable, even when you are in doing your own work. Now, I do put out there is a cost for not doing your work. And so there's a difference between a professional who is ignoring their work and setting it aside and one who is engaging in their own work and their own healing and moving forward. Because I do see that. I see some who shove it down and suppress and suppress and suppress. And where you can only take your clients as far as you've gone, then it is essential to do your own work. And if you are not, then you are at risk for harming your clients. And that wouldn't be ethical. So it's essential that you are doing your work and you are continuing to heal and you're continuing to move forward. Some of the other costs of not doing your work is emotional burnout. And actually, you know what? I was going to go on to the next one, but I want to sit with this one for a sec because the amount of professionals that struggle with emotional burnout, I'll just say at some time in their career, all the ones I've ever known at some time in their career, actively right now, especially since COVID, I would say at least half that I see that I know of. And the research shows that more than half in the lifetime of their career will have emotional burnout or compassion fatigue. And at the ABSATS conference, I did a training on this or a workshop on this for coaches and therapists. And we talked about how there's this term called compassion fatigue, and it's not actually compassion fatigue, though that is part of it, but it's what we call an empathy fatigue, because it's where we go so deep into the empathy that drains us as professionals that's where we get drained, because in empathy, you are feeling with the other person. And so our mirror neurons are feeling it and experiencing it with them. And if we don't have a balance in that and we don't have boundaries in that, if we are over identifying and we are over feeling, our body is taking on and feeling all of their trauma. Now, you pair that if you have your own trauma that you're working through currently or your own pain that you're working through currently, and we're holding space in a way that we're feeling everything that they feel, you can see and hear what a toll that takes on the body. Compassion, on the other hand, when we're able to have compassion, it actually gives us more dopamine, more oxytocin, and more serotonin. All those things our brain loves, that compassion can give to us, because in compassion, we can have the empathy for what they're feeling with boundaried empathy, which allows us the compassion, but we don't have to take on and feel with them what they're feeling. we can touch into that and touch into what that feels like, but then step into this place of compassion and be able to then hold our own space while giving them their own space and allowing for their own healing. If you want to know more about this, then reach out to me. Let me know. Either just reach out to info@chooserecoveryservices.com or Alana@chooserecoveryservices.com. And I am happy to give you some more information on this, or even just let me know if you want a podcast on that in particular, because I feel like this is such a deep, important topic. So the emotional burnout, we really want to watch for that fatigue. We also want to watch for the blurred boundaries. If we are relating deeply with what the other person is talking about, sometimes there is that desire for letting some of those boundaries go and relating at a deeper level. Yet that isn't always what's best for our client. And so really watching what those boundaries are looking like, watching for making sure that we're not bringing our stuff onto our client or we're not making their session about us. So really watching for where those boundaries are in session and out of session. And I'll just speak to coaches. I see coaches struggle with this. When a therapist goes through grad school, a lot of your training is on what do boundaries look like, how to have ethical boundaries, the purpose of boundaries, why we do boundaries. You go through multiple ethical trainings. But when you're doing coaching, you don't have some of that background and that foundation. And I started with coaching before I became a therapist. And I will tell you, on some of the multiple boundaries, I learned the hard way. I learned the value of those boundaries are not only to protect the client, but to protect me and both of us, and how our relationship can actually be so much stronger and healthier when those boundaries are in place. So if you're listening to this and you're a coach, I highly suggest taking a boundaries training. ICF, International Coaching Federation, they have some trainings on this, and I would go take one because you will save yourself so much heartache. If I would have learned all the things I know today on boundaries way back when I started, I would have hurt less people and I would have had less pain myself. So do your research on what those healthy boundaries look like. And then there comes the cost of not doing your work would be the risk of over identifying with your clients. And that I think is a natural tendency. The human ego is we are kind of filtering everything through what we know, our own experience. If you're not having your own safe place that you're processing and letting things out, it's going to be so much harder to not over-identify with your clients. Also, another cost would be your personal pain leaking into the sessions or driving in over responsibility. That feeling of taking on things of theirs that you either want to help fix or that you fear that maybe you have influenced, just that over responsibility feeling. And when you are doing your work in a healthy place and healthy space, it is better to not have that pain leak out and not have that over responsibility, which I think leads in really well to looking at countertransference. Now, countertransference, I know most of you already know what this means, but it's when your own unresolved stuff gets stirred up by your client's story. And so that could be, it could sound like you hear your client say something that their partner did, and your heart starts racing and you start getting worked up because you've had that happen to you. Or you get really angry on their behalf or really sad on their behalf. Your own unresolved stuff is getting stirred up by what they're sharing with you. It could also look like this inclination of wanting to jump in and rescue them or fix them. That comes from that countertransference. Our own unhealed stuff, we want to jump in and hurry and heal their stuff for them. And I see also sometimes it's the countertransference can look like, and this is all subconscious, but I'm not getting control over my life. So I'm going to over rescue or try to fix your life and help you get in control of yours so I can feel better about my own life that's out of control or my own relationship that's not healing. Or I'm going to get you to see things because maybe you'll do something different than I'm not ready to do or doing myself. Another way the counter transference can show up is feeling unusually frustrated or emotionally activated by a client. I kind of touched on the emotional activation could be like your heart racing, or it could be even a disassociating. You feel yourself going offline. But the unusually frustrated, I think, is a tricky one that people don't recognize showing up, where you're like, like, why won't they just? Or if their partner would just, and like, they're driving me nuts because they won't, right? Or we keep going in circles, or whatever the thing is that you're feeling that frustration around. That frustration is a good kind of little warning sign that there might be some unresolved stuff there of yours, and that countertransference is showing up. And then another one that's kind of that little like flag is if you're struggling to maintain objectivity or boundaries. So that objectivity where you're able to go and step back and see, okay, I can see all of these elements playing into why they do what they do. When you're struggling to see that, or you have a lot of subjectivity, a lot of your own emotions mixing into that, and you don't have that same level of clarity, that's a flag. And then, of course, the boundaries. When you're struggling to maintain boundaries more with a particular client, that's a sign to you that I may have some countertransference there. If nothing, we know that there's something there that needs to be worked through. Side note, I really believe all therapists need therapists, all coaches need therapists, because when you are dealing with such heavy emotions and such heavy topics, to go have a place for you to release and let that out is incredibly healthy. I highly, highly encourage that. So I just want to say, like, this countertransference, it's not a failure on your part. It's a signal to pay attention. It's a signal that says, like, hey, here's an invitation into deeper self-awareness. So this isn't, you're messed up and you're broken, fix yourself. No, it's a, hey, hun. It's funny because I'm like, okay, not everyone are women or not other people are going to identify with hun, but this is how I talk to myself, okay? So, hey, hun, there's something here. Let's pay attention to this. It's an invitation into self. It's an invitation to do the healing work. And that's where really getting the supervision, the consultation, your personal therapy really should be essential, not an option. The last thing that I want to jump into is just kind of looking at some practical ways on how we can balance being the healer and needing the healing. And so we've talked about some of those with the countertransference and engaging in your own work. And I would say specifically, let's create some space outside of our sessions for your own processing. So that's going to include therapy, journaling, breath work, spiritual practices, meditation, whatever speaks to you. Finding those spaces outside of your sessions to do your own processing. And it needs to be dedicated time. It's not this, okay, well, I just think about it while I'm driving to and from work. Unfortunately, that's not enough. And I would even go as far to say that's not ethical treatment if we are not creating this space and processing and doing our own work and helping emotions move through us. And then if we're not doing that, and then going and still treating clients. So making sure we've created this space. And the next thing we want to do is really know our own limits. And my limits are going to look different than the person next to me's limits and the person on the other side of me. So it's really learning what that looks like for you. Where I have an autoimmune disease, what I want my limits to be and what they are different. I can't actually do as much as I want to do. And I accept what is reality. And I am getting to know and constantly relearn, because sometimes what my limits are, what I can do today is going to be different than what I could do last week and what I'm going to be able to do a month from now. And it's not linear either, because we have all of these different things that are impacting that. It could be that I am being impacted by what's happening in my kids' lives and demands from family. I could be being impacted greater by what's happening in my relationships. I could be impacted greater by whether I'm on my period or not. I could be impacted greater by stress levels from, no, I could keep going. You get the picture. But understanding it looks different day to day, and really learning and getting to know you and what those limits look like, and be willing to pause client work if needed. Even if you don't, getting to that place where you are willing to does change your thinking, and it changes your bandwidth and your ability to show up. Next thing, which we've talked about multiple times, but boundaries as a protection for clients and for yourself. And get clear with what those are. Can you verbalize clearly what your boundaries are? And can you write them down? And can you look at them? Because a lot of times we go, yeah, I'm boundaried. I'm boundaried. But if you can't actually sit down and write them down, then we're not as boundaried as we think we are. So I encourage you to do that, to get clear with yourself what those boundaries are. And then to name the season. I am in a season of grief. I am in a season of growth. I'm in a season of reckoning. I'm in a season of healing. And whatever your season is, I'm in a season of this, and that's okay. And it doesn't mean I'm disqualified. And letting yourself know that and have that. You don't need to be done healing in order to help others. You don't have to be done. Because again, as you're still human, you will have a lifetime journey of learning and growing. But you need to be doing your work to be helping others. So know that you're not alone in this. It's okay to be a helper and need help. If you are human, you need help. You need other people. We are community beings. We're meant to be connected. We're meant to be integrated with others. We're meant to help and be helped. That's what we're created for. So allowing yourself all of those pieces, and honor your humanity. Honor that you're human, and honor that your healing journey can make you even more empathetic, even more wise, and even more ethical if you engage in it with awareness. Self-compassion and humanity is what I tell clients they need at the foundation of their healing work, and the same is for you. I encourage you to return to self-compassion and to return to that professional humility and to invite in that humanity. And so that you can stay grounded and you can heal and you can do this work that you love. You are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress. So, as you are doing this sacred work of helping others heal, don't leave you out of that process. You are worthy of healing, and you are worthy of taking care of yourself. And I will just do another plug of come join me at Heal the Healer, where you get to be taken care of. Come join me and let yourself be seen and loved by you and loved by others of us who get it. So you can access Heal the Healer on www.chooserecoveryservices.com/intensives. Again, that's in June of 2025. And I hope to do this every year. So whether you come for 1 day or come for 4, come hang out with us. And as you walk this path of your own healing, I send all my love. It's complicated to navigate your own pain while doing others. And again, I just reiterate, it can make you a better professional as you step into that with that self-compassion and awareness. So as always, Thank you for hanging out with us this week, and I look forward to seeing you all at a regular scheduled time next week.